This clip is brought to you by SaveWithConrad.com.
You wrote in your book that you never saw anything to make you believe that John DuPont was mentally unstable, but it was obvious to you that he had substance problems and he wasn't good with personal relationships. Can you expound on that?
Well, John, he was very different. John was, he liked to be the center of attention, and he was the first year foster catcher. But when Dave joined, Dave became the center. He became the face and the name of the club, and he was the coach of the club. And John was jealous. John was definitely jealous. He was infatuated with Dave. He wanted to be Dave Schultz. And do I think John had mental illness? Looking back now, yes. Yeah. But back then, we didn't know what mental illness was. It wasn't barely discussed. So we didn't know how to treat it or what to do. John DuPont's attorneys tried to, turn around and say we were taking advantage of him.
Right.
We weren't taking advantage of anybody. John knew what he was doing as far as running the club. We didn't rob him of any money. He'd tell us what we were getting paid, what we had to do, where we had to go. It was just, John was coherent enough to run a club, but, at the same time, he had some issues. He definitely had a level of mental illness, and he took a lot of drugs. And all of those things could be contributing factors to why Dave or John did what he did.
When you say a lot of drugs, do you mean prescription pills or cocaine or what?
Cocaine. That was his choice of drug, a drug of choice, I should say. One time I was at his house, at his mansion, we just ordered pizza, and I was in his trophy room, and he came downstairs, and he was sniffing his nose, and there was white stuff around his nose, and he was trying to rub it off. And he says to me, "Kurt, you need to leave." And I said, "Okay." And the only reason I left is because he had a gun in his hand.
Oh,
I was like, holy shit, like, what's going on? He said, you need to leave. So I left, and he took a wrestler down in his basement. There was a tunnel, a hidden tunnel down there from the Civil War when the DuPonts were, producing gunpowder. And there was an escape tunnel from the mansion to another house, a guest house. It was about 600 yards long. And John found the cave, the tunnel. So he wanted this wrestler to go in the tunnel. It was only 4 feet high. So the wrestler had to bend over forward, and he had to walk 600 yards and through the tunnel. And John got in behind him with the gun loaded, pointed at him. 600 yards. And this kid was praying to God the gun wouldn't go off. So John, there were a lot of incidences of John, doing wacky stuff, but, nothing ever turned into a murder until Dave was killed.
Did you have, when he said, "Kurt, you need to leave," did he mean like get in your car and leave the property and go home? Or did you have, I don't know, a bunk somewhere on the property?
Oh, we had houses. There were about 30 houses on the farm, and we were all placed in different houses. So when he meant leave, he meant go back to your house.
I got you.
I was just there for dinner, having pizza with John and another wrestler. His name was Rob. And that's when the incident occurred.
So let me ask, when you, when everyone on the wrestling club, not John DuPont, the actual wrestlers, the team, when they're trying to reconcile his sort of erratic behavior and the way he's mimicking and almost obsessing about Dave. And back then, of course, we didn't know what we know about mental illness. And boy, this is maybe controversial, but it's just honest. How many, I mean, by and large, you guys had to assume he has a crush on him. He likes him, right?
Well, I guess, I mean, he definitely was infatuated by Dave and Mark. Mark was his first infatuation. And I think John had his sights on the Schultz brothers probably years before he contacted them. But, John was just an odd dude. And, he was infatuated with Dave and Mark, and the infatuation just continued.
It's pretty crazy to think about how all this got turned around. I get it. It's a wrestling podcast, but he's saving us money on our mortgage. Do you really trust this process? The reviews don't lie. 5-star review after 5-star review. We make it fast, we make it easy, and it's no cost or obligation. Give us a shot to earn your business. I'm telling you, you'll be glad you did, especially if you like keeping more of your own money. You don't need perfect credit or money out of your pocket, so what are you waiting for? Hurry to savewithconrad.com. I want to circle back to something you just sort of glossed over because it feels like a make-believe story. I certainly believe you, but I'm saying this is the craziest thing I've ever heard. The dude had a tank and ran over his own shit.
Yes. Hey, thank God he didn't use the gun on the tank. he would have blew up his mansion.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, he bought a tank, and I'm not sure where he got it. Obviously, he has a lot of contacts. He could probably get whatever he wanted. And he rode it on his farm and was knocking over buildings and barns and, just trying to destroy whatever he could. He just felt like doing it that day. He was like, I'm John DuPont, and this is what I'm going to do today to kill time. And I think he just had a lot of time on his hands, and he had a lot of money, and he didn't know what to do with either one of them.
Would you categorize John as paranoid?
Yes, he was definitely paranoid, and I think the drugs had a lot to do with that.
Yeah.
Because like I said, when he was sniffed that coke and came downstairs, he got really paranoid. You got to leave, man. I found something downstairs. You're going to have to leave. And, he thought that, he wanted the wrestler to go in that tunnel, that 600-yard tunnel, because he thought somebody was coming after him. So he was delusional to a point. And I think the drugs had a lot to do with it.
Was there any pressure, we'll call it peer pressure, but I guess that's not really the right term here. But I know you guys are all elite athletes training there, but if he wants to be like you guys, he might want you to be like him. Is he ever pressuring guys to do cocaine as far as you recall?
No, John did that in his own privacy. He didn't want anybody to know about it.
I see.
I'd imagine he had some problems in the past. He also had some problems with alcohol, and I'm sure that he was trying to hide both of those. If he was still drinking, I didn't think he was still drinking, but I think he switched the drugs to cocaine, and I'm sure that that had a lot to do with it.
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson. Thanks for checking out the podcast here on YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell so you get a notice anytime we upload some new content. And go save yourself some money right now. If you're in a 30-year loan or you have credit card debt, it's not a matter of if I can save you money. It's a matter of how much. Find out right now for free at savewithconrad.com.